In mid-November 2025, the Dak Lak province of Vietnam was hit by one of the most destructive floods the Central Highlands has seen in years. Days of relentless rainfall, intensified by the passage of Typhoon Kijiji across Southeast Asia, triggered catastrophic flooding, mass evacuations, and growing fears of deadly landslides. The heavy downpours began late on November 17th and continued non-stop until the morning of November 19th. Rivers quickly burst their banks, submerging entire neighborhoods and cutting off major roadways. In the Yong Mao subdistrict, authorities carried out an overnight evacuation of a Han village, where 320 residents found themselves trapped by rising waters and the high probability of landslides. Rescue teams made up of local officials, soldiers, and volunteers worked side by side to move families to safety. Van Truck, chairman of the Yong Mao People's Committee, confirmed that two key pedestrian bridges connecting the village to surrounding areas had been destroyed by strong currents. With land access severed, rescuers relied on rubber boats and military vehicles to reach stranded residents. Emergency posts were set up to provide food, clean water, and basic supplies. These floods formed part of the broader aftermath of Typhoon Kijiji, which crossed Vietnam on November 6th to 7th after leaving more than 188 people dead in the Philippines and causing major damage along Vietnam's coast. Although the storm weakened as it moved inland, it still delivered intense rain and powerful winds across regions like Dak Lak. According to the Vietnam News Agency and the National Disaster Management Department, flooding across the central provinces and highlands resulted in 9 deaths, 19 injuries, and 6 missing persons. In Dak Lak alone, 1 resident died after their home collapsed under the force of floodwaters. Over 20,000 homes were affected, with 85 severely damaged, and roughly 16,000 individuals were relocated. The central government issued an emergency alert and sent national rescue teams to hard-hit areas such as Dak Lak, GLI, and Quang Tri. With many roads impassable, medical and logistical supplies had to be delivered by air. The region also suffered widespread power and communication outages, as damaged substations and down networks left several communities isolated. Schools closed, businesses halted operations, and local farmers reported devastating losses across rice and coffee fields, critical crops in Dak Lak, one of Vietnam's major coffee hubs. Despite the chaos, solidarity among locals was strong. Residents unaffected by the floods helped transport supplies, organize shelters, and support the displaced. Humanitarian groups, both domestic and international, quickly mobilized aid. The government pledged financial assistance and building materials to families whose homes were badly damaged or destroyed. Experts highlight that this unusually intense rainfall is linked to global climate change, warning that Vietnam may face more frequent and severe weather events in the years ahead. Strengthening disaster preparedness, early warning systems, and climate-resilient infrastructure will be essential. These floods revealed deep vulnerabilities in the region, from fragile bridges and overwhelmed drainage systems to limited emergency communication networks. Roads buried in mud and rubble now require costly repairs. Agricultural losses will impact livelihoods for months, if not years, as thousands of hectares of coffee, rice, and horticultural crops were submerged. Socially, hundreds of families now find themselves living in crowded temporary shelters, where health risks are elevated for children, the elderly, and pregnant women. Prolonged displacement also increases the risk of stress, trauma, and anxiety. Schools used as evacuation centers or damaged in the floods are unable to resume normal classes, disrupting children's education. Environmental risks have also increased. Waterlogged soils in hilly terrain raise the likelihood of landslides, forcing authorities to reevaluate land use planning and settlement zones.
Well, what do you think?
It's very dangerous.
Floodwaters have also carried debris, silt, and agricultural chemicals into rivers and lakes, threatening ecosystems and freshwater resources. From a governance perspective, the disaster is a wake-up call. Vietnam is expected to reassess its early warning systems, install more rainfall sensors, improve community sirens, and expand evacuation and first aid training. Future infrastructure designs may prioritize higher bridges, larger drainage networks, and flood-resistant housing. Humanitarian organizations emphasize the need for psychological support, especially for vulnerable populations. Group therapy, trauma recovery sessions, and structured activities for children can help rebuild emotional well-being. Public education on disaster readiness must also be strengthened to ensure communities are better prepared in the future. While the Dak Lak floods caused severe physical and economic damage, the crisis could also become a turning point. If recovery is managed effectively, the region can rebuild stronger, more resilient systems capable of withstanding future climate-related threats. With cooperation from the government, communities, and aid organizations, Dak Lak has the potential to emerge as a model for climate-resilient development in Vietnam.
God, I gotta get the hell out of here.